Hi, my name is Marie Miao, oncology clinical social worker and manager of the art program here at Hoag Cancer Center. Our art program is designed to help you through your healing journey as a coping tool. We encourage you to take a deep breath and take a moment to be still with your mind and body to flow as one. So we encourage you to enjoy the process. This art class is designed for any level, and it is open to anyone to try, and we would love to hear your feedback at the end.
I'm Gail Wirtz-Costello, and I've invited you into my studio today, and I want to present a new concept to art. For myself, working in my studio, the feeling that I had just allowed me to focus on something other than my illness, but yet I could experience my feelings, my emotions, my expressions through color and light and change and things that were positive for me. But the product wasn't the important thing, it was the process. The art has helped me to be able to be present. What we're trying to do in this series is to allow you to express your soul in your art. We're here to give you examples of what you can do, but your creation can take you anywhere. There's no right answers to what you're going to be doing. It's just supposed to be fun. Today, we're going to choose an environment to work in, which is under the sea, and we're calling it What Lays Beneath. Our instructor, Lynn, today is going to take us through the 3 phases of what lays beneath. And the first one being the environment, the second one being the body, and the third one being some kind of movement of the object in the water. Our experience with the participants that do our videos in the studio is they love their final product because it is reflecting them. Today we're using tissue paper, and I personally love using tissue paper with hundreds of colors. It creates oceans easily. It creates objects easily. And it's a new medium that you probably haven't used before, and I think you're gonna like it.
Hi, I'm Lynn Kaplan. We have focused today on our project on koi fish. The koi live in ponds, very interesting fish, culturally very respected in the Asian community, thought of as a good luck fish. You do not have to do fish. We're suggesting you do fish, but honestly, if you feel like doing an octopus or a jellyfish is a really fun subject, it's your choice. You do not have to follow any of the directions or copy any of the things that you're about to see in this video. This is your project and you have choices. Cancer takes away so many of our choices. Today, one of the things I really want you to know is you do have choices. You have choices in your color, you have choices in your composition, and you have choices in the fish that you create. There is no right and wrong in art. Whatever you do is fabulous. In your packet, I did take the liberty of printing, and you will receive some awesome pictures of koi fish and an illustration of how to draw koi fish. I did find it incredibly interesting to see how many species there are, and while I was really kind of preparing for today, I printed some fun facts about the koi fish. The fun fact that got me the most was that a koi fish can sell for up to $250,000. So can you imagine if your husband comes home with a koi fish for your birthday for $250,000? I would be like, honey, where is the car? But the side that we're going to be working on is the side that's rough with a little bit of texture, and you're going to be putting that piece down on your surface. The very first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be thinking about the background. So the first thing we're going to do is grab hold of our tissue paper package, which you did receive, and you've got all these very pretty colors. Now, for the very back part of the project, which is the environment, I want you to make a choice in what color you want. I'm going to go with blues, and some of the pieces around the studio, there's one over here that has been completed, are done in blues, but you do not have to do blue. I want you to take a second to think about what color your fish is going to be, because you do want some contrast between your fish, your subject, and your environment. So we're going to pull off some of our blues. If you can all open your packages now. And the very first thing we're going to be doing is we're going to be applying our glue all over our board. Going from left to right, making sure the entire surface is full. Tissue paper is very, very different from paint. The application is different. You're also going to notice it's very thin. So when you do apply it with your brush, what you want to make sure is you don't pull it. If you pull it really hard, you might cause a tear in your tissue paper. Now what Colleen's doing is, instead of using her fingers to apply it, she's picking it up with her brush and making sure that she's applying it wherever there is glue. I would cover the entire surface. Now you want to do it really gently. You don't want to pull it hard, because if you pull it hard, it may tear. So I've not only applied the medium underneath, but I'm actually going to apply the medium on top. And I'm now going to show you what happens if I put a second layer on top, how the one part gets a little darker and a little darker. So you can find that you're going to be building up your environment out of your paper using all different layers of tissue paper. When you get into doing or tearing your paper, I prefer cutting it, but you can tear it by hand. If you tear it by hand, you can lay your hand on it, using your hand to support it, and just easily pulling through. That way you can get a nice straight line. I'm going to use my finger just to make sure that the medium is on top. This medium is a school grade medium. It is a non-toxic medium, so don't start worrying that there's something toxic here. There's not. Just pulling my tissue paper by gently tearing it, using my hand to support it, I am able to apply these layers. You can cut whatever shape you want. Here I'm actually cutting up the shape of a fish. I have a little koi fish that I've cut out, and I'm going to put my koi koi fish down, applying it. So you can tear it or you can cut it. Remember, this is your choice. You are controlling the color and you're controlling your design. Lauren has chosen to tear these papers instead of using the scissor, and she's not using the brush. She's using her fingers. Now the glue is a medium, which is non-toxic. So if you do have it on your fingers, it's not serious. It's just really sticky. If you have any tissue papers at home that you'd like to add them in. What else works really nicely is a napkin. Katie is overlaying her colors. She has some deeper blues at the bottom, and she's overlaying, constantly applying her glue, making sure that the entire surface is full, patting it down really carefully.
I'm starting to enjoy just maybe crinkling it up a little bit and seeing what
the creases, what happens to the creases.
And because the layers now are getting to be more fun, you know, to me, the dots and then the blues and some greens, and I think you could, you know, just if you didn't like it too, you could just cover it up with another color.
Well, another fun fact about koi fish, the female koi produces thousands of eggs, and only half the eggs will actually survive because she eats the rest. So something interesting happened today where Gail came in with a box. We have given you these boards, but you do not need to use these boards. You can actually look around your house. You can use an old canvas that you have lying around, or you can use a box.
I just wanted to share with you a box I made out of tissue paper to show you different things you can do with tissue paper. It's just laying different colors of tissue paper and creating images. And people say to me, what are you going to use it for? And I say, well, what are you going to use a run for, or going to the gym? It's just fun to do, and it makes me feel good.
You can do something like Gail did in a 3-dimensional project, or keep it to a 2-dimensional project.
Texture. So the paint, there's no way that I could make the paint have the texture and the reality and the crinkling of the tissue paper. So that's why I like multimedia.
I do want to remind you that if you do it on an unstretched canvas on a board, that it might buckle, and the buckling is from the wet glue that's absorbed into the canvas. All you need to do if that happens is when it's dry, to lay it flat and to press it down firmly and give it an opportunity to straighten up.
I wanted it to be like reeds, you know?
How about tearing it really thin, winding it, and now applying that in between so you create the illusion of reeds.
Oh yeah, that's better.
Now you may decide not to stick it down entirely. Maybe you want to put your fish underneath and then your reed in between. So give it some thought if you'd actually like your fishes to go between your reeds. Another great technique is if you take a piece of tissue paper and you fold it and you twirl it and whirl it, and turning one side in one direction and the other side in the opposite direction. And that's really nice if you wanted to create reeds. It's also kind of nice if you wanted to outline your fish. So you can use that and create a little bit of depth or texture on your fish, giving me a bit of a 3D look. I know this doesn't look great, but we're improvising.
You can see how the darker with the lighter kind of creates some depth. It takes a lot of time, but when you leave it for a while, you come back with other different ideas, and then you leave it for a while and come back with other ideas.
So Gail was here the other morning, and the picture on the easel just behind Katie is actually Gail's. And Gail started by applying a very pale blue paint to her canvas. And then on top of that, started to layer her tissue paper. Now you can have a look while your camera's right there at Katie, how dark and deep Katie's environment's getting. So the more she's applying this paper, the more interesting it's getting. Layers and layers and layers of paper are giving the illusion of depth.
So I'm not really sure what it is, but yet putting the glue and just seeing what happens, because it's really fun to just see what happens when you apply the tissue paper to the other tissue paper and see what color comes out of it.
Colleen is wetting her sponge. Her glue's got a little sticky. She's now wet it, drying it off a little bit, and now going back into her medium or her glue. If you find your applicators getting sticky, I recommend you do this. Tell me about your subject. So you have your environment. We're now going to give a little bit of thought to the body of our project. The body is the fish. Do you have one fish? Do you have multiple?
Kind of basic.
Okay. Okay. So
And maybe one of them might have a stripe.
I want it to have a face and some eyes and the little whiskers.
So if
And
I
a
took,
feathery tail like this. I want this fish to have this tail.
had a look at the front of the koi fish, it actually has a straight edge. So you could cut something and overlay that on the end. That's almost where their feelers go. And then you've got the two eyes on each side. And then as far as the tail is concerned, what if you took some tissue paper, and I'm just going to tear it. Now it's very thin. They're swimming all the time. And you squished it up and you applied that over. And for the front, because your fish doesn't really have what it needs, and that's that solid front, you applied a shape like that. There you go. That's perfect. I'm going to show you how to draw a koi. I'm starting off with a straight line, and I'm going to bend it a little bit. Now I want to show you a really great way to trace it. Trace on top, or you can just cut around it. Once you've done that, and I'll just show you on Gail's picture, it's easy to put your fish on top. Now we can't take this off because this is Gail's piece, but I'm just giving it as an example. And then when you come to do your fins, you can cut them as well to give that soft layering look. So you're starting with green at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm making some lily pads. Popping this.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna do some flowers.
Fold a piece of paper in half and cut half a circle. You get a weird oval shape. I'm going to give this shape to Katie to apply it to her picture.
You know, when you look at other people's art, you think, oh, I could do that, but maybe not necessarily so. But what you do is something that is different from anyone else's, and it can please you, or it can just make you happy. It can just make you happy. And that's, I think, what my picture has done, because I certainly laugh when I look at it. A thought comes in now and again, you know, of things, but it brings you back to just enjoying yourself.
Such
with
a
choosing
peaceful,
colors
therapeutic
and
state.
It is.
For the past hour, your focus has been what's in front of you and not what's around you.
I don't have any problems.
Right, Colleen, I hope you had a really great morning and a lot of fun, and we love what you've done. I'm really glad to see that your other fish now have fins and feelers, and everybody looks wonderful. But I hope you enjoyed today's project enough to save what's left of your tissue paper and to try something else.
Yeah, I think I have so much going on in my life, like I do way too much, so that's probably me, all those fish. So none of these are really me, but it's like my brain, like I just do too much and give too much of myself. When I came here today to do this, I never for 1 minute thought it was gonna kind of translate to anything that who I am or what I do. I was just doing what we were told to do, create the fish.
Okay.
So, and here it is, my life. Yes, I'll look at this every day and go, this is the kind of day I need. Not bad.
I hope you had fun today watching what everybody did in the studio. I also hope that you took time today to focus on yourself and quietly just spend a little bit of time detaching from everything that's going on in your life. Get all the stresses out, get rid of all your stress, and just focus on what you're creating. I just hope that you get something really good out of it, and that we see you again on many more of our artistic journeys.